We're living in a remarkable era where prophecies in this week's Torah portion, Bible portion, are coming true. At least 3 that are mentioned in Parashat Lech Lecha that we're going to read tomorrow on Shabbat, on Saturday. And the first one is that Abram was promised the land of Israel from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. And we see that Gaza on the one hand has been conquered by the IDF, and in the north we've conquered what's known as the crown of the Hermon, an area where Syrian forces used to threaten Israel from, and terrorists as well. And in addition, that links us to a second related prophecy in this week's Torah portion, where God promises Abram to grant his descendants success, victory over 10 nations. One of them is called the Kenites. And our sages identify that with the descendants of Yitro, or Jethro, and the Druzim, who live in the north of Israel, see themselves as either the descendants of Jethro or see Jethro as their prophet. And our tradition teaches us that after giving advice to Moses and the Israelites in the desert, Jethro went back to convert his family. So here you have people who see Jethro as basically being their spiritual leader, right? Somebody who would have converted them, that would be them. And not only that, but we're finding them in a place where the Torah, in a different Torah portion, tells us to expect to find them. In the portion of Balak, it says, Adma Ashur Tishbeka, which Rashi understands, until when will Assyria take you captive? However, Adma is until what? Not until when. And Ma is also a holy name, one of God's names, and it refers to the time where he redeems his people. It refers to him as the Redeemer, essentially. And the nation of Israel are living through the time of the redemption, where we're seeing the prophecies come true, such as the agricultural development, that the land would give its fruit in a great abundance. And you can see these statistics. Rabbi Ishmael brought them together in his book HaNevuah, soon to come out in English, where he shows that basically by all agricultural measures, Israel is ahead of any nation in the world, including things you might not expect. For example, cow milk production per cow. We're ahead of places like Switzerland and Canada. In any case, coming back to that, so Adma would mean until what? Or until the redemption. And we're living in that time period. And furthermore, who does the verse say would take them captive? Assyria, i.e. what is today called Syria. Where do you find the Jews? On the border between Israel and Syria. And they themselves are asking for Israel to protect them from the forces, the terrorists essentially, who've taken over Syria. Not that the previous regime was any better, but that's another discussion. In any event, so you see that is the second prophecy that's also coming true. And a third one is the prophecy given in regards to Ishmael, Yado Bakol and Yad Korbo, which the translation of Onkelos gives as everybody will need him. You see that the Ishmaelites, i.e. the modern day Arabs, Muslims, I realize there's a difference between the two, but just for the sake of keeping things simple, I'm conglomerating them into one. everybody needs oil, right? And they are some of the biggest producers of oil in the world by far. And all the more so today with these sanctions on Russia, turning that significant producer off to most of the Western world. Now, how does all this relate to the main topic of this channel, which is the unity of the Jewish people? How do all these things tie back in? Well, for one thing, in order to have unity, you need to give everybody their place. And for everybody to have their place, you need to have the whole of the land of Israel. So the fact that that is happening in our days is a very positive development, and hopefully will fix the shame, the terrible wrongdoing. I'm trying to find a stronger word to express the idea, but essentially what was done by throwing the Jews out of Gaza, out of what was known as Gush Katif, around 2005, 2006. Everybody needs to have their place. If you don't have everybody in their place, our sages gave the analogy of everybody in the Jewish people having a letter in the Torah, a letter in the Bible. If, God forbid, one letter is missing, then the whole scroll is void. Similarly, you can give an analogy to a puzzle, right? If you don't have every puzzle piece in its place, the picture's not complete, you're falling short, there's a problem. That's not real unity. So what we want is for the government of Israel to understand that if you want real security, if you want real strength, you need unity. And in order to do that, you need to help everybody have their own place, find their place in the land. Shabbat Shalom.